It's hard to read
sarcasm.
It's not.
Okay. All right, let's get started.
We have lunch. No, we don't. We have lunch. We're not gonna just skip right
So, here we go. We're in our notes. All the stuff I handed out is for another time. You got your quizzes back. You can look at them, whatever. We're not going to go over them right now. We have too much to do. So I think we're on page 53 of our notes. And we're going to solve some equations without our calculator. So you'll notice part 3 is no calculator, part 4 is with calculator. Now, here's the deal. Secant equals 2. X is some angle between 0 and pi over 2. So, in other words, we are looking only at this first quadrant. Does that make sense to everybody? Pi is 180, so pi over 2 is 90. So we're saying whatever answer we get, it's between 0 and 90, 0 and pi over 2. Now what do I know about that angle? I know that its secant is 2, which means that its cosine is 1/2. Now you may not have to make that translation. Personally, I don't think very well in secants. So I changed my secants to cosines. So I got an angle that I know is in quadrant 1. It has to be because of this. And I know that its cosine is 1/2. Do we recognize that triangle? We sure should, right? How big is this angle? 60? I'm in radians. That tells me I'm in radians. So 60 is what fraction of 180? A third? So this is pi over 3. This is pi over 3. If I'm doing this with no calculator, that will be a special angle. That has to be a 60 or 45 or something. Otherwise, I would use a calculator to figure it out. Okay, that's it. That's the only answer to the problem. Pi over 3. Done. Okay. The next one says the cotangent is -3, and I'm between pi over 2 and pi. So this one, letter B, says I'm between these two numbers, which automatically means I'm in quadrant 2, right? So I know, I don't do very well with cotangents either, so if this is the cotangent, then the tangent is 1 over -3. And tangent is opposite over adjacent. Does that work for you? You recognize that triangle. How big is this angle? 30, which in radians is a 1/6 of pi. Now here's where things get a little bit tricky. Actually not tricky, but you just have to think.
Is my bag in here?
I don't know.
Oh.
The answer isn't pi over 6. The reference angle is pi over 6. The angle would be this one. Does that make sense to everybody? You have to be a quadrant 2 angle. So wait a minute. If that's pi over 6, how big will the purple one be? I heard somebody say 5 pi over 6, and you are exactly right. Because this is a whole pi, which is 6/6. If that's one of the 6ths, then this has to be the other 5. Does that make sense to you? So the purple angle is the answer to the question. All right, now C, what's happening there? Well, C, we know that the tangent is 1, and I like to think of that as a fraction, 1 over 1. And I am where? Where am I? I'm between -pi, wait a minute, -pi and pi. Well, but be careful. That's like saying I'm between -180 And 180?
So would it be 3 pi over 2? Oh,
So what can I be?
a circle.
I can be negative 90, right? Could I be negative 90? Could I be positive 90? Could I be 0? Well, wait a minute. Aren't I talking about all the way around then? Isn't that all the way around? So I'm gonna look all the way around, but I know the tangent is a positive 1. So there are some places, even though I could be looking all the way around, there are some places I won't look. Where will I look if the tangent is a positive number? Quadrant 1 for sure, okay, because tangent there is positive. Where else might I look? Quadrant, not 4, 3, because here, tangent is also positive. All right, so now I need my reference angle. Okay, so what's my reference angle? Well, what would it be right here? What would it be in degrees? 45. And 45 is pi over 4. So my reference angle is pi over 4. You need to name, oh wait, does that say 180? No, I wrote that, yeah, it said pi, yeah. You need to name every angle that you can think of, here and here, that's between negative pi and pi. Would pi over 4 be an answer? Does that fall in the interval here? So one of my answers is pi over 4. Be careful. I am tempted always to name this angle. But how big would that one be?
Over negative.
It would be over pi, right? It would actually be 5 pi over 4, which is not in my domain, or whatever you want to call this, right? 5 pi over 4 is an answer to this question, but it doesn't fit the constraints I've been given. Well, how else can I name that angle? If I can't name it as 5 pi over 4, how else could I name it? Negative 3 pi over 4? Negative 3/4? This is a whole pi, 4/4. That's 1/4. So this is the other 3, and I'm going negative. Is negative 3/4 in that setup? Absolutely. And that's it. Can't get any more out of there. So that's the end of that. All right. One more with no calculator. One more. Cosecant is negative √2. And where am I looking? Between pi and 3 pi over 2. So right here. Remember, what's a full revolution? All the way around is 2 pi. So here's 1 pi, and this is pi and a half. So I'm looking in this quadrant. The sign is 1 over negative √2. The sign is the reciprocal. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. You recognize that triangle? Same angle we just talked about. This is pi over 4. And this time, I will use this angle. Pi plus 1/4, so 5 pi over 4. Why can I not use my negative 3 pi over 4? It's the same angle. Why can't I just say negative 3 pi over 4 again? Because it's not in the domain here that we said, right? So the point of this exercise is to help you understand there are lots of answers. don't set some constraints for you, then you could have infinitely many answers for every problem. So pay attention to your constraints, and if not, you'll have infinitely many answers. All right, let's try the ones with our calculator now and see what's different about that, if anything. So tangent equals 1.3. We're between 0 and 2 pi, which tells me that I am in radians. And even though I'm using my calculator, I'm going to find a picture, picture very helpful, because I'm not going to have an answer in every quadrant. I'm going to have an answer in just certain places. I'm going all the way around. 0 to 2 pi says I can look everywhere. But if the tangent is a positive number, I really can't look everywhere. I can only look in quadrant 1 and 3, like we just talked about, right? Now you can label the sides of that triangle if you want, but there's really no point in it because it's not special. This isn't 30 or 60 or something. So I'm going to go to my calculator. I'm going to make sure it's in radians. And then I'm going to type what? What am I going to type to figure out this angle right here? What am I going to type? Second tangent. You got it. Very good. So second tangent, 1.3. Point, I'll round it to the 100. 0.92. Is that what you got? Now, kids, that means that every reference angle, however many triangles you drew, every reference angle is 0.92. These are congruent triangles. The reference angles are always going to match in any given problem. Then you name your answers. So one of the answers is 0.92. How am I going to get the other answer? The purple one. How am I going to get that one? Maria?
Could be completely wrong, but would you have to change like 0.92 into like pi radians, and then you could figure it out that way?
No, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that.
Pi plus 0.92.
Exactly. Isn't this purple thing just pi plus 0.92? So I'm just going to take my calculator out and get plus pi. And that purple angle is 4.06. And those are the two answers to the problem.
So it's pi because the 0.92, like they're
This is pi.
exactly 180 from each other.
This is, so
both angles.
look at my purple angle.
Yes.
I'm going this far and then adding another 0.92.
Oh,
So
okay,
it's
yeah.
pi plus 0.92. We're just going around our circle. All right. Secant is 2.4. And between negative pi over 2 and top and pi over 2. All right, so first of all, I'm going to get a visual between negative pi over 2 and positive pi over 2. So would you say I'm over here? This is like negative 90 and positive 90. So I'm over here in this area. And my cosine is 1 over 2.4. Could the cosine be positive here? Would this angle have a positive cosine? What about this angle? Because we said we could be anywhere over here. Would that angle also have a positive cosine? Okay, we're gonna get two different answers. Let's figure out what that reference angle is. Second cosine, 1 divided by 2.4. I got 1.14, did you? So one of my answers is 1.14. Would you agree with that? What's the other one?
Negative 1.14.
2.28.
Okay, so I heard somebody say 2 pi minus 1.14. And I'm gonna talk about that because that's gonna be right most of the time. That would be this angle right here. That is 2 pi's all the way around, subtract 1.14, that's beautiful. The problem is, my domain is, in terms of decimals, negative 1.57 to positive 1.57. Which means any answer I give has to be one of the, in there, is, well, I don't know what 2 pi minus.
That's like 5 something.
That's 5.14. Now, again, boys and girls, listen. 5.14 is an answer to this question. If you did the secant of 5.14, it would be this. The problem is, you have been told that of the infinitely many answers to this question, yours has to be between negative 1.5 and positive 1.5. This doesn't qualify. So then you've got to think, can I name that same angle, this thing right here, this is my angle. Can I name this angle in a different way other than 5.14? Negative 1.14. It is the same angle, guys. I mean, it's in the same place, but it fits that, right? So your answer, this is not an answer. Your other answer is negative 1.14. If the directions were 0 to 2 pi, then 5.14 would be your second answer. And normally, honestly, usually we're solving between 0 and 2 pi. Again, the point of this exercise is to help you understand there are billions of answers to every one of these equations. They're telling you which ones to pick. They're narrowing it down for you. All right, next. Cotangent is negative 0.6. Cotangent is negative 0.6, which means tangent is negative 1 over 0.6. I know I can simplify that, but why? I'm going to type it in, right? And where do I have to be this time? Okay, this is 3 pi over 2. This is 2 pi. Is this 5 pi over 2? All the way around and another piece? 2.5 pi, in other words. So I'm somewhere here or here, and the tangent is negative. So could it be both places, or is it just one of those? It's just quadrant 4. Because, guys, if you're in quadrant 1, is anything negative? No. So that one's out automatically. All right, so I'm going to find that reference angle. So I'm going to second tangent. Now, I never put the negative in because it really confuses me with cosines. Cosines, you'll understand why later, but I just skip the negative. I don't need the negative. I just need the size of the angle. It's 1.03. If you put the negative in, you got negative 1.03, which is the same thing, right? Are you going to say negative 1.03 is your answer? Are you going to say that? No, because first of all, look at your domain. I didn't write it down, but it's this, right? Are there any negatives in there? No, so whatever it is, it's got to be positive. And if you need the decimals, if the decimals help you, go ahead and do 3 pi divided by 2, that's 4.7. And then 5 pi 2 is 7.85. Okay, so whatever answer you give me has to be between those two. So negative 1.03 isn't gonna work. What will work?
3 pi over 2 plus 1.3.
No, be careful. 3 pi over 2 plus 1 point, that would mean this is 1.03, it's not. So we gotta use 2 pi minus 1.03. So 2 pi minus 1.03. I got 5.25. Does that fall in the correct category? And since it was the only triangle we could draw, it's it. One more. Did they say our lunch is at 25?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna do one more. Last one here. Cosecant 1.7 means the sine is 1 over 1.7. And we're between 0 and 2 pi. We're between 0 and 2 pi. So all the way around, right? All right, so here we go. Sine is positive. Where does that happen? 1 for sure. And then where else? Quadrant 2. Very good, Chris. Because sine is positive when y is positive. Because sine is y. Okay. So let's get that reference angle. Second sine 1 divided by 1.7. I got 0.63. Can 0.63 be an answer to the question? Yeah. Is it between 0 and 2 pi? 0 and 6, basically. Yeah. Here's another angle. How would I find the measure of that red one there? You guys are awesome. Pi minus, so pi minus 2.51. Because this is pi. Back up. That much.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now, are we gonna consider any negative angles? No, because they're not. Alright, so those are the answers. Alright, you need to be back at 50, they gave you a short lunch, I'll say 51. Be back at 51. Hurry up, have a good lunch.